On the Impact side of things, the Impact tag team champions that are newly crowned, Fire and Flava, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, have sent out a challenge basically saying that they will take on anyone and everyone. I personally believe that this is a shot at the AEW Tag Team Cup winners, Ivelisse Velez and Diamante. So we'll see what happens with this whole working relationship merger between Impact and AEW. So far, there's been men crossing over back and forth like Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy, so forth and so on. But we haven't really seen much of a crossover yet at all for the women. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that, especially with AEW not having tag team championships titles for their women. So that's very interesting. And with the AEW Women's World Championship Elimination Tournament coming up, the first round in the first bracket has already been announced as Serena Deeb, the NWA Women's Champion, going up against the returning Rio, who is the first ever AEW Women's Champion. She was also the youngest. So that's kicking it off, but who knows if we're going to see some knockouts actually placed in this tournament, which would kind of stir the pot quite a bit, especially with AEW having such a huge women's roster already. This week's episode of Impact will feature Jordan Grace versus Susie, Tasha Steelz versus Havoc, and Madman Fulton versus Josh Alexander, and some more. Heading on to the AEW side of things, their Beach Break episode will feature the main event being their champion Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, who are champions for Impact, versus Pac, Jon Moxley, and Rey Fenix. I think that's actually going to be a real crazy main event. That's pretty epic worthy in my opinion. Matt Hardy is boasting a crazy schedule on how Monday he was on Being the Elite. Tuesday he's going to be on Impact Wrestling and representing Private Party. And Wednesday he's going to be on AEW Dynamite with Private Party. So he is just living the life as Big Money Matt. To me, it has, Mr. Perfect meets Ted DiBiase meets Rick Rude vibes. And I am just loving this new character for Matt Hardy. It's a complete departure from the Delete, and it just, every time he reinvents himself, it's money. I love it. Can't say enough about that. Also featured on AEW will be a tag team battle royal, and all of the tag teams are aiming to get a shot at the AEW tag team titles, so that'll be very interesting. Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer will actually be in a lumberjack match. This is the response following Kingston capitalizing on an outside interference to beat Archer. Rebel is going to be accompanying Britt Baker against Thunder Rosa. This has been something that's been left on the burner simmering, and now it's officially come to a boiling point, and it's boiling over the pot and about to extinguish the pilot light. So we're going to see how this blows up in our faces. Should be very interesting. This has been, kind of building for a little while now, so I like that they took their time with it. And then we also have the long-awaited wedding of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. So we'll see what happens with that, because we all know there's always something that happens with a wrestling wedding. MLW, I just wrote an article. They had a really killer main event for MLW Fusion. It featured Jacob Fatu, their champion, versus ACH. Now, I love both of these guys. I've been on shows and in locker rooms with both of these guys. I get along with ACH very well, dating back to our Ring of Honor days and stuff. And I have to say, I'm super stoked about both of these men achieving really cool things. It was not even a doubt in my mind of how talented these guys actually were. I saw Jacob Fatu on an MPWL versus Lucha Patron show basically just kill it as a main event against Chris Masters. They basically tore the house down. It was really great. Both of them showed such athleticism and really cool storytelling, and they produced one killer main event. If I was The Office, I would be so happy and be like, that's why I signed these guys.